Hello, this is Frank Favaro, president and founder of Serve-Centric Coaching, and I'm super excited to be sponsoring the Undeniable podcast. When we talk about business today, everyone's looking to create an advantage. But how do you find it? Everything is copied with technology. Innovation is hard to come by. We can find it with customer experience. The experience that you provide to your customers and to your employees determines the value you bring to the marketplace. We will create a plan for you that will get your business to the next level. You can find us at www.serve-centric.com. That's serve-centric. Serve, S-E-R-V-E -centric, C-E-N-T-R-I-C.com. And you can reach me personally at 330-715-5361. Thank you.
This is Undeniable. Coach Cimoroni. I've got Eric Torigian from Detroit. How are you, my man?
Coach, I can't believe we're sitting in the same room. I've been waiting for this day for a while now.
This is
happy
fantastic.
To be here. Yes.
Right?
So I got to tell a quick story here.
Yeah.
So Coach C and I met on the internet randomly. We started talking. Next thing we know, we have a common basis.
Yes.
Both Armenian. We know the same people. We know the same families. We grew up the same way.
Yep.
And just developed into what I think is a great friendship.
Yes.
A great partnership.
Yes.
And it's been an amazing journey.
You know, when I see your smile, right, I see a lot of my family.
Yeah. And I say the same thing. I look at your face and I watch your podcast. I watch Undeniable.
Yeah.
And you know what's amazing to me is your passion and your energy is infectious. And the people you work with, they all have this one same common theme, which is this infectious energy.
Yes.
And this passion to serve. And that's where I think the connection is, because that's what I've always been told is my desire to serve, my passion to help people, and then my energy. It's just such an infectious quality.
You know, and the other thing too that I see in you, and I think I see in myself too, is tenacity. And that, I think, comes from what we and our forefathers went through.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I mean, if we were not tenacious, if we were not survivors, you and I would not be sitting here.
We're not here, right? So I listened to the stories growing up, and you have the exact same stories.
Absolutely.
Growing up, and my grandma would talk about remembering she was 3-4 years old, and she remembers soldiers coming in the house and gunshots, and next thing you know, she's in an orphanage.
Yes.
And then my other grandma being buried in a pile of dead bodies, and a Turkish woman saving her life, saying, no, she's Turkish, she's my daughter. And my grandpa walking from Armenia with his brothers to France.
Yes.
Well, you think about that, you hear these stories like, okay, yeah, but go look at a map.
Yeah.
And then pause for a minute and think about what they went through.
Yep.
And then they came here 10, 12, 14 years old. They don't speak the language. They don't know the culture. They just went through all this change. And the only thing that they knew was they couldn't fail.
Yeah. Hard work. Just put your nose down and go.
And don't stop.
Yep.
And then now I look at my life and I think, well, geez, how can I fail? How can I be the one to fail?
Exactly.
You went through that. My adversity is nothing compared to what you've been through.
This is so easy compared to that, you know? Exactly. I mean, we had the same stories. My grandmother and her 4 sisters and mother walked out of the Anatolian Peninsula into Cyprus.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing, you know, and got out of there. And my grandfather was already here. He kind of saw the tea leaves, right? And then sent for them. But it's just fascinating how the human spirit, you know, survives, and what you do to survive.
And it's interesting how you teach too, and how those impressions happen. And I watch I have a 7-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter at home,
God
right?
bless you, bro.
And my daughter put a sign on my door.
Yeah.
Because I have an office in the house. It's, you know, kind of over on the side. And she put a sign on the door. She said, whatever you dream, you can do.
I love it.
So think about the passion we're teaching. She's Viviana, but she goes by Vivi.
Beautiful name.
If I introduce her as Viviana, she don't get mad at me. But
I hear you.
Hi, Vivi. And then my son is Christian.
Well, my middle son is Christian Michael.
Oh, yeah. So
absolutely.
He's
I love
Christian
that name.
Eric, and he is a little version of me, which is sometimes good and sometimes bad.
You see, exactly right. Well, you know, for the audience that maybe are historically challenged, the Armenian genocide occurred in 1914 to 1918, and it was the first. The term genocide was coined because of that. It's the first modern the Turks tried to eradicate an entire indigenous population from the planet.
Exactly. And there was some historical documents, and not to get really super political here, but there's actually documentation where there's other nations that were trying to do the similar thing.
Yes.
And there was a quote that says, "And who speaks of the Armenians today?"
Well, that is exactly what Hitler said in his address to the Reichstag in 1934.
Who speaks of the Armenians today?
And it gave him the imprimatur to go and do the Jewish question.
Yeah.
So the Holocaust, the only reason the Holocaust was so, I can't say the word successful, but despicable in scope, was because the Armenian genocide showed the blueprint for the Nazis on how to do it.
But an interesting note to history, and you know, you and I both tend to be ultra positive.
Yeah.
And I always choose to find the most positive answer for everything. Right?
Sure.
I love what Mr. Segoyan said in his poem.
Absolutely.
And you know exactly where I'm headed.
Absolutely. Well, when two Armenians meet, they create a country.
There is a new Armenia created.
Exactly right.
And you
nation
can try to stomp us out. You can try to eliminate our poetry, our history, our religion. But as soon as two meet, there'll be a new Armenia.
Exactly right. And I had the privilege of meeting Peter Balakian this past year. And he wrote The Black Dog of Fate, phenomenal book. And he said the same thing, same thing. He quoted our sage poet, William Soroyan. That said, Eric, so here we sit, right? Positive survivors, if you will, and also two disruptors, innovators, leaders of evolved thought in how to really push a team, push a company forward. Well, you led an incredible organization of 8,000 employees as the head of HR. And tell me a little bit about that process and how your upbringing prepared you for something like that, and now what you're going to be doing.
It's amazing. And, I look back at my career and it's been such an amazing arc. And, I wouldn't recommend anyone trying to follow in the footsteps. It worked for me, but I always took a series of very affirmed steps. And I started out actually as a computer programmer, believe it or not. And I was writing medical billing software.
Okay.
And I got a job with Ford doing database work in labor relations.
Oh, there you go.
And the head of labor relations said, "Hey, you're pretty good with people.
Right.
And the union likes you. They trust you. Are you ever interested in getting into HR?" And I was like, "Well, maybe."
Yeah.
So he had me go get my master's degree.
Okay.
So I went and got my master's. I got an MBA, got labor relations.
Awesome.
And he put me through a rotation program.
All right.
And I learned every chair of HR. I literally sat in every single chair.
Wow.
Labor safety, benefits, designing benefit plans, and got this whole broad exposure that people just don't get anymore.
I know. It's a shame how we're pigeonholed, right?
Yeah. From there, I had an opportunity to take a job that nobody wanted. I went and took the head of HR for a joint venture between Ford and U.S. Steel.
Wow.
And no one wanted the job. I was like, "This is a great job. Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
I had the whole thing.
Wow.
Worked for a board of directors. It was a whole mini HR function for 170 people.
Wow.
And then from there, I took a series of challenging roles. I closed a plant. I consolidated two bargaining units together. Took shifts off of big assembly plants.
Yeah.
They sent me to Buffalo stamping plant because the union was ready to go on strike.
Okay.
So I get to Buffalo. It is the Monday before Thanksgiving.
All right.
I'm driving. I left the plant because it started to snow at 4:00.
Right.
It starts to snow at the rate of a foot an hour.
Well, it's Buffalo.
By the time I get to my apartment, there's 8 feet of snow. I got stranded on the expressway overnight.
Oh, my God.
It was the most challenging winter I've ever had. 184 inches of snow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But beyond that, what I learned there was just no respect being given between all of the different people at the plants.
Right.
So the management team wasn't talking to the union wasn't talking to the management team, the employees were fighting with everybody. So really just sat down and did it back to the basics.
Okay.
And this is one of my favorite stories, and I always tell people this, and I want people to learn from the stories. I would meet every morning with the chairman of the UAW.
Wow.
6:00 in the morning.
Okay.
We would stand out in front of the employee entrance.
Okay.
He would bring me the worst cup of coffee I've ever had in my life in a white Solo cup.
Yeah, battery acid.
And we would sip on this terrible coffee and just smile and laugh. But what it did was it showed his people that he could get the head of labor relations out there and We resolved issues. People with issues would come up and talk to us.
Okay.
It showed the plant leadership team that this is the mechanism we're going to use. And we just slowly rebuilt those relationships, kind of one block at a time. So it's a great learning experience.
And it's creativity, right? Thinking outside the lines, right? Thinking outside the box. He had this creativity of saying, you know what, let's just show some human connection.
Exactly. And that's where the disruptorness to my personality really starts to show up.
Okay.
Because then I started to say, well, I'm going to do things the way I think they should be done, not necessarily the way everyone else has done them before.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, you're seeing that too in different disciplines. Okay. So a lot of times, particularly like in medicine, you're seeing medicine reach out to the arts to get this creative thought process.
Exactly.
Not looking at it as an X and an O. Okay. Looking at it from like an aesthetic viewpoint, and then bringing it back to that science so that you marry art and science, and that creativity just explodes. Music, same thing.
I think of a really good friend of mine, Jody Engel, and he's a designer.
Okay.
And he did automotive design and does a lot of work with, CCS in Detroit. And
sure,
they bring that design, that creativity to problem solving is amazing.
Yep.
Back in the day, they didn't call it disruptor. Disruptor is a great term now, right? Because everyone wants to be a disruptor.
Sure.
Well, back in the day, what they called it was nonconformist, right?
Of course,
They used to call us all nonconformists running around out there doing things differently.
Right.
But that led me to a great career. So for 30 years, I did transformational HR work. Okay. I did the jobs that no one else wanted, but I got the experience that no one else was ever going to get.
Gotcha.
I took a job where I knew I was closing a plant. I knew it was a 1 year long assignment.
Sure.
Nobody wanted it. Everyone wants to go take a job. They're going to be there 30 years. I was like, hey, look, I'll come get the experience.
Yeah.
Hired gun.
Yeah.
Take care of the people, get the job done.
Right.
And go on to the next exciting opportunity in life.
Well, this is leading you to what you're doing now, right?
It all set the table for today.
Exactly. And so, like you're saying, the challenge of the snow, the creativity of standing there with the union head, some of the things that were thrown into your navigation, if you will.
Yeah.
And you're saying, well, okay, let me take this that nobody wants. Let me figure that out. And then let me take all of those experiences, create a company, and show people not only what to do, but what not to do.
Exactly.
Which is as important, sometimes more important.
More important.
Saving time, energy, emotion, pain, if you will, by not doing certain things that would just slap you in the face or stab you in the back.
You talk about the art and the science.
Sure.
There's the science of what to do.
Right.
Then there's the art of knowing when to do what.
Okay, fair enough.
And sometimes you got to know when to do nothing.
Exactly.
And sometimes you got to know when to do a lot. And you got to get that balance right. Exactly.
Yeah, good sense. Yeah.
But big value system, and in our company, it's our number one value is to serve people and to add value.
Yep.
And we really took a look at this, and I was really thinking to myself, how do I serve the most people?
Yeah.
Well, it's not by going and getting another head of HR job, because I could have got another global CHRO job and done that same gig again.
Sure.
But it's really by broadening this and bringing this HR service to a broader group of people, because now I can impact a bigger group of people.
There you go.
So that's when I decided, and it was January of 22.
Okay.
My company who I was working for went through a private equity transaction.
Yep.
So I got a lot of experience in that.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, hey,
that's a different world.
I'm going to go see if I can make this thing happen. And I started this company, and the market's really responded well. We've gotten a lot of good customers, got good clients, good relationships.
Yep.
And it's a different way to look at HR.
Well, your presence on social media is a rare voice. Okay. I don't ever say unique, because that's really, really hard to be unique, but you're rare. And that rarity is getting a lot of good response. Tell me what your rarity is. What is that special dollop, that nugget that is what you're doing?
Well, there's so much that goes into that, right?
Okay.
I would think
let's do that after the break.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
We're gonna spend a lot of time in the second segment after the break.
But let me distill it down to where I think the magic is.
Okay.
The secret sauce.
Yeah.
is leadership drives performance.
Okay.
So you fix leadership, you fix performance.
I like that.
So we're out there giving people great tools.
Yeah.
And if we don't teach them how to use it or teach them why to use it, the tool's useless.
I hear that.
I used to always joke, Christian doesn't think it's a joke, but I would say, I can go buy my son a Ferrari.
Sure.
And he's going to smash it.
Yeah.
But if I get him the right tool and teach him how to use it and get him up Power Wheels and teach him how to drive it.
And point in the right direction.
The Ferrari at some point will be an effective tool, but he's not ready for it and he's going to smash it.
Yeah.
So why don't we get the right tool in the right place? That's what leadership is about.
I love it.
The number one predictor of performance is leadership effectiveness.
I love it. Well, we're gonna expound on that after the break. You go with that, Eric?
I'm good.
Eric Torigian. We'll be right back. It's Coach Cimoroni for Undeniable.
Infinite Search Solutions, recruitment and placement search services at its finest. Northeast Ohio's premier, easy, fast, and simple way to find the great and perfect candidate that you deserve. Matt Burns and his incredible team at Infinite Search Solutions are terrific. We are proud to have them as a sponsor. Reach out to Matt at 440-249-0485 or at their website, www.in-finite.com.
And we're back with Eric Torigian, my Armenian Hunami. Hunami means more than friend in Armenian.
You and I apologize because my wife made choreg.
Oh, no.
And I was bringing it down for you. And I took my daughter, dropped her off at school on the way down here. And I left my coffee and the choreg sitting on the counter.
Oh, my God. Well,
I'll just have to eat it tonight.
That's right. You eat it tonight and make some lakmacun too, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we're back with Eric Torigian, a rarity in the HR space, but more importantly, now we're looking at fractional HR, some of the creative stuff, some of the innovative stuff that you're doing. And we talked a little bit about that on the front end of the segment. Let's talk a little bit about what that looks like now moving forward and who you're affecting and how you're affecting them.
Yeah, we're really looking at a couple different ways to make a difference.
Okay.
So the first one is small business to mid-market business.
Yeah.
So typically what you see is they don't have any HR at all.
No. Mm-hmm.
Or they have someone who's trying to figure out HR.
Sure.
Or their CPA is trying to help them with HR. They have an attorney who's sort of helping them. They don't have any strategic.
Or they have those HR in a box companies that are pretty.
They get some administrative HR. You know, they have the I-9s, compliance. Right. HR is not compliance.
No.
And I know a lot of people want to believe HR is a compliance function.
Right.
No, we do have some compliance requirements. We are a strategic function.
Sure.
People strategy is the number one thing that you can do for an organization.
Sure.
And HR tends to be flat on that, but we'll get into that
What's
later.
your most biggest asset?
Yeah.
God, I mean, if you don't have great people surrounding you, yikes.
Right? You know, the hardest job in any company, frontline leadership.
Sure.
That frontline supervisor, the number one supervisor, they're the ones who are taking the brunt every single day, and we don't do anything to help them.
Yeah.
So we have some tools, leadership maturity model. We have leader in a box. We have some different ways to evaluate some succession planning tools, all that can help you get your leadership team functioning at a high level.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you play piano or not, or if you ever learned.
I played for many years, yeah.
So when I learned how to play piano, I had to learn the sheet music.
Yeah.
And I learned how to play the scales and to bang off on the sheet music.
Oh, the scales, man, yeah.
My music teacher said, most of the time, students will just stay right on the music and they'll play the sheet music. He said, every now and then you'll see one who sort of starts to drift away and they get creative and they add their own pieces in there and then they become musicians.
Yeah.
Same thing happens in leadership.
Sure.
People don't fail in leadership because they choose to not do something.
Yeah.
They fail because we haven't given them the sheet music yet.
Right.
So we give them the prescriptive steps. We show them what to do.
Give them the foundation.
Show them the steps to take.
I like it. I like it a lot.
A bunch of your leaders are never going to leave the sheet music. They're going to follow those leadership directives. They're going to use leader in a box. Leader in a box is very prescriptive. It tells them what to do every single week to be an effective leader. Some of your people are going to graduate off of that and they're going to go off script and they're going to do even bigger things that we never even thought of.
Sure.
But for the most part, we're going to get everybody on one consistent common theme that's going to improve your employees' experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're getting consistency. So, like in anything, I mean, if you're a parent and you got some parent that is wildly different every time there's situations occur, the kid is like,
kids can't predict.
What's the hell's going to happen? I don't know. Oh my God.
How do I react?
Exactly.
I don't know how to react.
So if news, bad and good news comes fast, either one, right? It's consistent and they know that their leadership is paying attention to that consistency, that fairness, if you will, for lack of a better term. Everybody's like, okay, they respect me. I'm being heard. I'm being, and the other thing too is like, I think one of the biggest things about leaders is do unto others as they wish to be done unto.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Listen to them. Like, so, if you have a situation where you have younger kids and you need to spend more time with your kids and I'm giving you bonuses, you're like, well, dude, you're not listening to me. I need more time with my kids.
Exactly. You're solving the wrong problem.
Exactly. Because you're not even solving a problem. You're actually creating a problem, right?
You're creating a bigger problem.
Exactly. Because you're not listening to me. You're not respecting me. And so that's one of the things I think leadership does. And also too, the HR function, if you will, or that person it's almost like you're, a bartender or a rabbi or a therapist or whatever too, that you have to also get that empathy going. Am I overstating that?
So you want to know the best job I ever had?
Please tell me.
I was a server at Bonefish Grill.
Bonefish, great fish.
And I loved it.
Okay.
And I had passion because my job there was to help people have a great evening.
I love it.
It was that simple, right? I could get it down to that simple of a concept.
Sure.
Your job is to be the ambassador to help that person have a great experience.
Absolutely.
And you have this small little glimpse into them. And I had other people who were struggling and they were struggling to make money. They were struggling and they didn't understand. And they would always ask me, hey, how do you do it? What are you doing differently?
Right.
I mean, there was one day when there was a 30-minute wait for the restaurant, but there was an hour wait for my section.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And I was just having fun, right? And I was just being me.
Sure.
So I can't teach that. But what I could teach people was, what have you ever asked the people when they come sit down? Hey, what are you guys doing today? How are you doing? What are you celebrating?
Engage.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Let them tell you what they're looking for.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be a server at some point in their life.
Absolutely.
It'll change how you view the world.
Absolutely.
It'll change how you treat people in restaurants.
Or sell retail, right? Like I remember I sold shoes when I was in college.
And it's the most pure sales process of all.
It's like,
what
whoa.
do you do? You have to quickly identify a need.
Sure.
If you put some things in place, you can't solve that person's need, but you can help them make a selection that will solve their need.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know when you sit down, I don't know if you want pizza or if you want fish.
Exactly right.
But a little bit of a conversation, we can get there. I can help guide you in the right direction.
Empathy. Be care. Ask questions. Engage. Open-ended questions. Right?
And then disrupt.
Absolutely.
So when I was a disruptor, people would always say to me, well, why do you put in so many special orders? Why, every single ticket that you put in the kitchen has a special order on it. The kitchen would get mad at me. And if I sat down, I said, well, who do you work for? Exactly. He goes, well, I work for Bonefish Grill. I said, okay, what does Bonefish Grill pay you? Because they pay me $2.35 an hour. My tables are paying me significantly more than that.
Working for those people.
I work for that person.
Exactly right. You're just the conduit.
I'm brokering food from the kitchen.
Indeed. Well said.
That's a completely disruptive approach to being a server, right?
100%.
That's what we're trying to bring into this business with fractional HR.
Sure.
So when we tried to say, okay, look, we're going to pioneer.
Well, tell us the name of the company.
The CHRO Solutions.
Okay.
So we are pioneering fractional executives in the HR space.
Perfect.
So one of the things we do is we come in and we're going to look at things differently.
Okay.
We're going to help you run your business. We're going to help you deliver your business goals, and we're going to help build the people strategy to get you there.
Love it.
Like one of the taglines that we used to use a lot was, you didn't go into business to be good at running people, leading people. We did.
Yeah. Well said.
So stop trying to lead you're going to do it.
Right.
But we're going to help you get there.
Exactly right.
Go do what you got good at. Are you a good screw machine? Are you got some new idea about how to do a computer software? You have some innovative idea in the marketplace.
Right.
Focus on that.
Right.
We'll build the people strategies behind you. We'll help you be effective in the market.
I love that. And that's, that's what we do too, right, at Palladium. So why be an accountant when we can take most of that function away via our best practices, a finance software? right? And now what's happening with AI? Why have customer service reps and sales reps that are inconsistent and maybe don't show up for work? And so if you can get those systems in place, then you can really scale.
Exactly.
And expand.
And there's a lot of people who are, like, they start their company.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out what to do. They get to, let's say, 5 employees.
Yeah.
So they go out and they get a PEO to help them pay for their employees. Professional employment, right?
Sure,
Or they get a paycheck. So they get some system where they're paying these employees and they get some benefits and they think it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, it's stable there.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do when you get to 10 employees? 25 employees, 50, 500 employees, 5,000 employees. You got to have a plan to get there. One of the things I used to do when we were scaling Citus AMC, and we grew from 2,000 to 8,000 employees in 11 months.
Gee whiz. Wow.
So one of the things I always kept in front of everybody on the leadership team was, what's your current head count? Well, how many open requisitions do you have? And what is the effective organization you're running?
Sure.
Because you might have 200 people on your team, but we have 50 open requisitions that we're hiring against. So you're really effectively running a 250 person company.
Yep.
So if you want to go run a $5 million surgical center, you can't do it the way you run a 10 person medical office.
No.
So we will come in and we set these systems up.
That's a mistake most businesses make, is they start thinking small.
Yeah, don't think small.
So when I would walk into a wrestling room, I didn't think that I was coaching a high school wrestling team. I thought I was coaching the Olympic wrestlers.
Yeah.
I said, because if I don't think that way, if I'm not bringing my best game, my best talent, my best system into this, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when you think that way, it gets easy.
So a good friend of mine is running for a congressional office, and I was talking to him, and he seemed really down. I'm like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, a friend of mine told me that, maybe I should drop out and endorse my competitor. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
He goes, well, how would a friend say that? And I said, listen, let that go.
Yeah.
That's not you, that's him.
Yep.
Second of all, and this will go to your point of what are you really doing?
Yep.
I said, you need that mindset that you are the senator from this region.
You're living it, man.
You're it.
Yeah.
You just haven't been elected yet.
Exactly right.
It's just some steps in the process, but you're it.
Yeah.
If you can't see yourself as that, then you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
So if you're running a surgical center, or you want to run and I have a client that we're doing this right now, wants to run 100 doctor surgical, and he's got all these visions. Yes, you are a 10-person practice today. If you don't operate like you're this future state, you won't get there.
You won't.
Now, I'm not telling you to go add on all the administrative burden today. We'll figure out where to stair-step that in.
Sure.
But that's where you need a strategic partner like us to come in, work with your business plan, build those strategic solutions for you, and just go along the journey with you.
Yeah. Let the pros do it, man. Let the guys who've done it know how to do it. So that said, Eric, we like to leave the audience with some little nugget, a little piece of, little gem, if you will, from your perspective, and particularly for people that are maybe struggling, that are CEOs or COOs or CFOs that are struggling. Give us a word of advice and let's wrap this up.
So my number one word of advice is you need to be authentic. Yes. You need to be yourself.
Yes.
Unless you're a jerk, then be somebody else. But for the most part, people are not, right?
Right.
But you got to be authentic. And I see leaders, and I'm dealing with one right now at one of my clients, and you see these leaders come in and they are not authentic.
Yeah.
They're faked. You feel like they're wearing a jacket, like they're trying to put something on that they're not.
Yeah.
And people see through it, and it's the worst thing you can be. Just be yourself, be authentic. Right. Now, if you need help, we've got a lot of help for you. We just launched HR Boot Camp, 12-week program.
Awesome.
Quick start HR. You will do more in 12 weeks than most people do in a full year. It's a mechanism to change the world. Just reach out to us. We'll get you hooked up. We'll get you in the right things. We'll teach you how to do, and we'll make a difference.
I love it. So, Eric, where can they find you?
So you can find me at CHRO Solutions -US.com.
Okay.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Eric Torigian.
Yep.
You can find us on Instagram. Our Instagram and YouTube channel is called Lessons from the Corner Office.
I love it.
So Instagram is at Corner Office Lessons.
Yes.
YouTube channel is Lessons from the Corner Office. All of it's on my LinkedIn page. You can send me an email, and I'll tell you, I'm going to do something that I always do. I did this on Fox Business the other day.
Okay.
Here's my personal cell phone number.
I love it.
248-207-1253.
One more time.
248-207-1253. I will not recognize the phone number. I won't answer it. Verizon got me this really cool new thing. It's called voicemail.
Sure.
You leave me a message, I will get back to you.
That's right.
Send me a text message.
Yeah.
Send me an IM.
Yeah.
Anything. Just reach out. We will find you. We'll get back to you. We'll get some of our people with you. We'll help you make a difference.
Eric Torigian, this is fantastic, brother, man. This is great.
Thanks, Peter. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much for coming in and sharing times with you. Reach out to Eric.
I just love the mission at Edwin's. My friend Brandon Krastowski at Edwin's Leadership and Restaurant Institute brings a unique approach at giving formerly incarcerated adults a foundation in the hospitality industry. What a marvelous mission. Thank you, Brandon, for bringing these wonderful people back into productive society. Every human being, regardless of their past, has the right to a fair and equal future. Give them a try because their food is magnificent. Their service is first rate, and Brandon is a true Cleveland light. EdwinsRestaurant.org. We love you.